Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dream Again, where we finally say yes to all that is inside of us. You guys know what time it is. It's time for another video, and I'm so glad that you guys put on your not judgment hat and join me for another video after sharing my dirty laundry last week. Woo! For those of you that missed, we talked about snapping out of these seasons when we find ourselves doing things that are not in our character. It's not who we are, but for some odd reason, even though we even disagree with it, we find ourselves right in the middle of it. And I titled it, This Is Not Who You Are. But with that statement comes another. And you might say, okay, I know the things that I'm doing when I'm doing them. That's not exactly who I am. But who am I? Like, seriously, who am I? And I had to ask myself that question, which was kind of embarrassing at the time. I was 31, now I'm 33, and it's like, I should know that answer by now. Because at the time, people had perceived me as having it all together. Oftentimes, I allowed myself to be fooled that I had it all together because things were kind of going pretty good in my life, and I had all the material things that I desired. But can I just tell you this? Age has nothing to do with knowing who you are. Reputation has nothing to do with knowing who you are. Material things have nothing to do with knowing who you are. Knowing who you are is not this false self-confidence wrapped in highly valued things or a status or how intelligent you are. Nor does it mean if you have all those things that you've reached the pinnacle of life. Knowing who you are is being surrounded by 101 things that have the possibility to waver, to change, to shake, to oscillate. But you stand unwavered in your core values, your beliefs, your interests, your strengths, your personality, all that stuff. And for example, society will tell you to follow all these trends one year and then a different trend the next year, but that shouldn't move you. Money has the ability to be gained or lost, but it should not affect who you are. Management has the ability to promote you or demote you, yet it shouldn't affect who you are. We all know this all too well, but people will cheer for you one minute and then talk about you the next minute, yet it should not affect who you are. Situations that have any possibility to be unsteady should always meet stability, which is you. Now, knowing and accepting who I was something that I had to learn, like I said, at the age of 31. And trust me, you guys, I'm still learning new things about me every single day. At the time, though, I had noticed in my life that I often pretended to be someone that I wasn't. And my opinions would change on the people that I associated myself with. So it made for a very dull life because it didn't allow me to express all the pieces that made me me. So while I was on maternity leave with my daughter, I was bound to discover myself. I really wanted to be able to pinpoint who I was. And I began by reading an awesome book that detailed how there were people in our history whose names were changed when they encountered God. So like, for example, there was Saul, whose name was changed to Paul, and there was Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. So it was as if God was giving them their own term of endearment, letting them know that their past didn't define them. And this learning influenced a prayer that I had prayed several days later after reading the book. And it was such a weird, strange request. But it was, Lord, I know that this is a really strange request, but I know life isn't always going to be easy. I know that there's going to be challenges. I know that I'm going to make mistakes. I know that I'm going to have hard times. That's just what life brings sometimes. But could you please give me a term of endearment that I can cling to during those seasons? So for days, I had continued to ask this. Once again, I know it was such a weird request, and I was expecting my answer to be very noticeable, like this billboard sign that said, "You are loved." But I kept asking, and God was not answering. So finally, in frustration, I'm like, okay, God, what would my term of endearment be? You know, I know that there's going to be difficult seasons in my life, and I just want to know so that I can be assured of your love. And I said, it's not like I want to change my name fully. I love the name Tishonna. And I stopped mid-sentence because I was about to say that I love the name Tishonna, but I stopped because that was a lie. For 31 years, like I said, I'm now 33, I didn't accept my name. I thought that it was too hard for people to pronounce. I thought that it was too ethnic, so much so that I considered ShaunaHicks.com instead of TishonnaHicks.com for Dream Again because I didn't want to exclude people I thought that my name would exclude, and it's absolutely ridiculous now that I think about it. But I stopped mid-sentence because I could hear the Lord's sweet whisper, which was much different than that loud sign, that big sign that I was expecting that said, I'm not giving you a new name because you need to accept the one that you have. And chills ran down my whole body as I then began to think about my name and how my name was a combination of both my father and my mother and the strengths that they possessed. It was in that moment that I accepted all of me. I believe that that time I was learning a lesson that if Dream Again was going to go as far as I thought, I needed to know who I was, and I needed to be proud of it, because otherwise I'd be swayed by who others wanted me to be and lose myself in the process. Listen, you guys, if you don't know me, I am corny. I'm excitable. I'm observant. I'm transparent. I like to twerk in the bathroom while no one's watching. I sing loud in my car. I think way too much. I love to give. I'm a control freak. I'm working on that. I have chubby feet. I wear clip-ons. I'm a girly girl, but at the same time, I don't mind getting dirty. Hearing other people talk horribly about others infuriates me, and that's when you'll see another side of me that you don't want to see. My kids still sleep in the bed with me, and for now, that's okay. I can be stubborn. I'm not the best responder when it comes to text because I enjoy meeting people one-on-one. I like quality time. I absolutely love pancakes, and I want to lose 10 pounds, but I love my chips and dip way, way, way too much, and it's not working. So with me, there comes the good, there comes the bad, there comes the great, there comes the not so great. You know, while on maternity leave, I took the time to write down as many characteristics of myself that I could, from my personality, from things that I enjoy, things that I don't, the bad and good habits that I have, the values and the morals that I won't bend on. I took time to pay attention to my routines, and I concluded that I'm a very structured, clean freak, and my husband can't even leave an empty cup of anything out longer than 5 minutes. Even to this day, I make mental notes when I learn something new about myself. I have learned to enjoy all the pieces that make me who I am. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't improve in the areas that I need to improve at in my life. I have bad habits that are in need of complete annihilation. It also doesn't mean that I don't stretch myself, because being way too structured and being way too planned leaves very little room for the fun and excitement that spontaneity can bring when it comes to having fun with my children. In addition, it doesn't mean that what I like and the values that I have in this season are not going to change in another season. But no matter what, I accept those qualities about myself, and I allow no one to take away from who I am. Now, I'm going to end this video with a quick story that I believe is going to help you. I was stuffing my 3-year-old's book bag with several toys I assumed that he wanted for his playtime at school the next day. Well, 2 minutes later, he starts crying because the toys that I had packed for him weren't the ones that he wanted. So he dumped them all out and he started putting in his own toys. Well, after filling it up to the top, he then attempted to put this huge dinosaur in it. And I'm like, little Frankie, sweetie, you can't put that in your book bag. It's not going to fit. So, of course, he starts crying again, and that's another huge ordeal. But I share this in relationship to people. You have allowed people to stuff your book bag of identity. You allow them to dictate who you are, what you like, what you prefer, how you like it, when you like it. They then put this title on you that becomes your expectation for yourself. So you try to meet all these expectations, and you find yourself pretending to be someone that you are not. Also, just like my son, who was trying to put in more toys than his book bag could contain, we say things like this. We say, oh, I like this quality about this person, or I like that she does this, or I like that he does this. You then live trying to fit in by what you think you should be and struggle with missing the mark every single time, because guess what? It's not who you are. So you might be asking this question, how in the world do I discover who I am? And that's a great question, and I'm going to tell you what really helped me. Number one, take the time to let your actions, your preferences, and your habits speak to you without the influence of others. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your values? Take the time to silence everything around you and answer those questions. Number two, just simply pray. God, show me what it is. Show me who I am. And he will highlight areas in your life out of the blue that gives way to who you are. And you're going to be like, oh, I didn't even realize that I had that in me. He also illuminates things in the Bible that tells you exactly who you are to him. And number three, you have to accept every single ounce of who you are. A lot of times we know who we are, but we don't accept it. You have to make sure that you take in who you are and own it. You know, the daily encouragements and the journal entries on TishonnaHicks.com are going to help you in these areas, because I've really took the time to really highlight how you can find who you are. So please, without compromise and without waver, stand for who you are. I'm signing off as not Shauna, but Tishonna. And just like God told me that I'm not giving you a new name, a new personality, a new look, whatever it is that you might need, know that He's not giving it to you, because you have to accept the beauty and the awesomeness that makes you who you are. You are a wonderful, wonderful creation. It's time to accept it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.